side. Um, People always ask me why I don't call myself a psychic. Really, it comes down to I hate that name. I hate that term. I think there's too much negative connotation with it. So I call myself a channeler. And really, that's what I do. I channel messages from your spirit guides and
Okay.
loved ones that have crossed over already. Gone home. That's home, by the way. Home is the other side. We come to visit here. We live over there. Spirit guides. What are they? They are souls. We are a soul. Our soul embodies our bodies embodies our soul. So when we take our last breath on Earth, our soul returns to the other side. We have a spirit family on the other side, and members of that spirit families agreed to be your guide while you're here on Earth to try to give you guidance. 99.9% of the times we don't listen because we get that, you get that intuition. You're hanging out with your buddies and you get that, I know I shouldn't do this. This is not going to turn out good. I just feel it. I feel it in my bones. This isn't going to turn out good. But screw it, let's do it anyways. And then afterwards you're like, I knew we shouldn't have done that. I told you we shouldn't have done that. That's usually your spirit guides trying to guide you in any given chapter of your life. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Kevali Channeling Presents. Tonight we have a guest. Tammy Harris will be joining us shortly. Tammy is an amazing young lady who will take us through what she does, how she does it. We'll talk about her journey and everything else. If you have questions while we're going through, please just type them in. I will be able to see them, and we will try if we have time. Anybody who's watched the show with me before knows we get going and it's just blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden we look up and we're like, oh my goodness, it's 8:00. We'll keep it to an hour. We'll try to keep it to an hour. Depends how much Tammy talks and how much I talk. I have a feeling we're going to be tight on time. So without further ado, let's bring in our guest for this week, January 16th, the middle of January. Click. And boom, there she is. Technology is a wonderful thing. Hello, Tammy.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
I am very, very good. So, Tammy Harris, tell us what you do, the name of your company, etc.
So my name is Tammy Harris, and my companies are New Intentions, Crystalline, Energy, and more, and New Intentions, PEMF, Pet Therapy, and more.
Hold it, PMF.
PEMF.
I forgot the E. PEMF. Yes. What does that stand for?
That stands for Pulsed Electromagnetic Field Therapy. Hi, Lisa.
Oh, very cool.
And it's a big machine, and what it does is that it helps to increase circulation and eliminate inflammation on a cellular level, and I do that for all species. So I like to say that I'm a practitioner for pets and their people.
I like the way you said that. Pets first, because I'm a dog. Absolutely. I'm a dog guy. So if anybody follows me on my personal page, they will see my love of my life, besides Ellison, is Bella.
I noticed that.
She is a rescue dog. She's my baby.
I was a professional horseman for over 20 years. And so, this is a way that I can keep in with the horse industry and whatnot. But I'm actually certified to do all species, people included. So the pets and their people. And so I offer all of my modalities for that. So quantum crystalline energy, Reiki, and also readings. Everything I do is channeled, so it doesn't matter what I'm doing, it's channeled. So whether I'm doing Reiki or crystalline or a reading, or even when I'm doing PMF, all the years I worked with horses, my favorite part was making them feel better. A lot of times people would say, what were you doing to that horse? And I would just say, sometimes all a horse needs is love, but really what the horse needed was some intuition.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. It's funny because I've talked to so many different practitioners of all kinds of different modalities. And so many times they're like, well, I don't really channel. And I'm like, Yeah, you do. People
Hmm.
don't realize how much we channel in everyday life.
Hmm.
Um,
That's
let's
for
go
sure.
back. Let's.
Okay.
I'm going to take you back on a journey because I want to hear your story. Um,
Okay.
when did you first realize that there was something else over there?
I cannot ever remember not realizing that.
Very cool. So very young age,
Yes, in fact, it was a lot. And I blocked it out for a lot of years. I didn't really want anything to do with it.
like most of
And
us.
yes, and I continued to block it out actually until I went for a reading. And the lady who became my teacher, she did psychic developmental meditation. So, and it was like a 3 hours every week. And I did that for 4 or 5 years. But the first time that I met her, I went to do a reading with her. She was giving me a reading, and she looks at me and she says, you know, like, you do all this stuff too. Like, you know all the answers to these questions, and you have a responsibility to help people if you wish to. And I said to her, like, I can't even go into the grocery store without three people telling me their life story. I have to go to the grocery store at
I'm in a
dinner
hurry.
or 15 minutes before they close so I can just have tunnel vision and get out of there. And she
That's
said,
awesome.
if I can show you how to set the boundaries, will you do the work? And she says, because, you know, there's going to be so much that you see and so much in your healing that you will be able to help other people, and things that you will see in time that, you know, you really have a responsibility to do this. There's always free will involved, but this is your responsibility and you need to do it. So I agreed. I had absolutely no idea what kind of journey that was on. I had
Now,
been
how old were you at this point?
avoiding all of this for many years before I met her.
How old were you at this point?
Well, that's a good question.
I thought so.
How long ago was that? Eh, I guess that was about 8 years ago that I really started to pay attention and
Oh, okay.
put an effort in. I mean, I had already done quantum crystalline energy. I had already done Reiki. I was just, you know, doing like healing type stuff, right? But,
Gotcha.
you know, letting the consciousness come back into the healing a little bit more, and, you know, reclaiming all of the privileges that I have been granted. It's been about
Nice.
8 years.
Oh, very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Until
So,
then, I was avoiding all of that higher level stuff.
well, because nobody wants to deal with that. It's like, yeah,
No, this
that's
is a lot of work.
responsibility. That's a lot of responsibility.
Yes.
Who wants
Yes, exactly.
responsibility? So, I'm going to take you back. You say you don't remember not knowing there was something over there, seeing things other people didn't
Hmm.
see. I'm the same way. I go back, used to have dreams where I was like, that was not just a dream. You can tell.
Yeah, you're actually,
Um,
those
what
never really stopped.
what did you yeah, what did you like how did you deal with it? How did you handle I'm going to go back to like teenage years when you were seeing this. Teenagers can be the meanest species, that's the words that I'll use, on the planet. How did you handle going through teenage years with knowing that you saw things other people didn't?
Well, I shut it down and I smoked a lot of pot.
Oh, I love it. Ting, 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 ting. If my kids
Now,
are
having
listening,
having said that, I
if
don't
my
do
kids
any
are
of that
listening, I
anymore.
never did that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I don't do any of that anymore. But that was how I dealt with that as a teenager. I had
Yeah.
been on my own since I was 15. Like, I left home at 15, right? So I wasn't your average teenager. I was working full time with racehorses when I was 15.
Oh, wow.
So that
You've
was
got
how I
all.
dealt with it then.
I wouldn't even
And
try to touch on the comments right now because it just exploded going, oh my God. Oh, Tammy, I love you. LOL.
Leanne actually knew me during that time. So not many people. But
That's funny.
anyhow, when I ironically, when I went to the racetrack, I was there since I was 15. I was around 17 when I looked around and I started to realize that all these people that I thought were in their 50s and 60s were in their 30s. And I was just like, all right, that's enough of this stuff. So
That's
I
hilarious.
stopped all that stuff kind of early, but
Now,
yeah,
where did you live? Did you live here in Calgary with the racetrack
it
here
was in Ontario. I grew
oh,
up
in
in
Ontario, okay.
Ontario. I just moved here a little over a year ago.
I asked that because my family was involved in racing in Vancouver.
Oh,
Man,
nice, nice.
many years ago. Um, it's what kind of what they did when they first came to Canada back in the 40s, somewhere around
Hmm.
there. Anyway, um, so fast forward, when did you actually start your company? Like, when did you start being what I call a practitioner of energies?
That's a good question. About 10 years ago
Okay.
for this particular company. Yeah.
Okay,
But,
okay. There's a story there. This particular company. What did you do before this particular company?
well, I've always been a healer at my core. So when I worked with racehorses, which I started doing at 15, that was actually really what healed me and it saved me so much. I mean, like when you think about it, I was a straight A student. I wasn't on my own since I was 15 for no reason.
Right.
And so, like there was a story there that I'm not going to go into. But
Very
when
cool.
I started helping the horses and seeing their improvement and seeing how much better I could make them feel just by like, there's so many different techniques for
Nice.
healing with horses, then that is literally, I could have gone down a completely different path there, but I didn't. And so,
Gotcha.
therefore, horses will always be part of my life and they'll always be a big part of my life, right? So, that's when my healing journey began on a professional level. Before that, when I was growing up, I would save baby birds and build them a nest. And like I was always I had a paper route since I was 9, and everybody would ask me to look after their dogs when they went away, like
Nice.
on my paper route. So, this is something that I've always done. And then when my daughter was born and I couldn't work with racehorses anymore because it's a life, it's not a job, then I had a boarding stable and that sort of thing, but that's not a
Very
lot of
cool.
money. So then I also had a cleaning business. And when I went in, I only had that because it kind of fit in with my hours of school for my
Yes.
daughter.
Makes
But when I
sense.
went in, like people would be like, the house is just so fresh when you come in. Like when I come in after you're here, like I don't know what, and it's not because I'm a phenomenal cleaner. I believe it was the energy that I was putting out within a
Definitely.
home. I was not just cleaning the home like clean and
You,
shine. It was like energetically cleansed. And I wasn't even doing that on purpose. It was just like, just part of who I am, right? And so
exactly.
so then it was in 2013 that I started looking more. I started going through the ascension process really heavily in 2012. And I was avoiding it, avoiding it, and avoiding it. And so then I decided just to, continue my healing journey, like trying to keep them separate in
Yeah.
around 2013. And then I started to take like workshops and courses and certifications and all
Very
of that
cool.
sort of thing. So, like there's a lot to be said for what comes naturally, what comes from that ancient knowledge, bring forward from our ancestors, what's inscripted in our DNA already. And then when
Yeah.
you add certifications and courses to that, it's really just giving you accreditation. This is kind of
Right.
stuff that we were born to do. And now that we are back in matriarchal times, back out of patriarchal times, this stuff will become more commonplace. I believe that talking about going for an energy session with an energy practitioner and that sort of thing will be like everyday talk for our grandchildren.
You know what? I've been saying it so much over the last 2, 3 months, and I always refer to when I'm in my late 50s. I always try to
Mhm.
say mid 50s, and my guides correct me, and they literally know what I'm going to say, and they go late, not mid. And I'm like, yes, yes, late 50s. So I go back to when I was in my 20s, and people would talk about going for a massage therapy or going to a
Mhm.
chiropractor. And people would be like, "Oh my god, you
Yes,
seriously? You're gonna go to a
I know.
chiropractor?" My
Yes,
best friend's uncle's best friend's employer, he went and he's in a wheelchair. Don't do it. Now everybody goes for massage
yes,
therapy. Everybody goes
yes,
to a
exactly.
chiropractor.
That was the
It's
first step.
going to be the same way with
Mhm.
energy healing. North America seems to
Yeah,
be, and you can kind of chime in here. North America, I find, seems to be way behind the times,
they absolutely are.
right?
Absolutely. But those were the first steps because we were moving more towards the age of Aquarius at that time. And you can't just like switch the light and go from one extreme to the other. So it had to be, well, you realize colloidal silver was outlawed for many years, right? And now people are starting to use it again. That's just one example. But anyhow, yeah, I absolutely agree. And I had to laugh when you said that I have this young lady that I'm going to be chatting with today. And next week is my birthday. The guys don't let me tell any lies about my age either. I'll be 49.
Oh, see, well, you're compared to this old guy who's in his late 50s. You're young.
Not that much younger.
That's funny. So when people ask, what do you do? I get it all the time. They're like, well, what do you do? And I'm like, well, it's hard to explain. What if someone says, Tammy, what is it that you do? Like, explain it in a nutshell. Give me your nutshell version of what you do.
I'm an energy practitioner, and I do readings, and then I also have a crystal shop with highly vibrational crystals. I do energy readings for crystals, and I make crystal infused products and crystal intention candles and sets, and I do energy testing for all of those for free. And then I'm also a PEMF practitioner for pets and their people, and I do all of maladies for people too. So it's a mouthful. I've been told I have to niche down, but the thing is that I would get bored, right? Because like there's different parts to the puzzle. Like when I worked with racehorses for so many years, there was always 10 different ways to do one thing right, and it was a matter of finding the right way for that particular horse. And I believe it's the same way with people. You have to find the right way for that particular person. So if I have enough tools in my toolbox, I can help them.
That makes total sense. Where is your crystal shop?
Sorry.
That's okay. Drink. That's why I always have mine right beside me.
I am just I could throw a rock and hit the Airdrie sign. And then I'm about 3 minutes from Calgary as well.
Oh, okay.
See, the guys think that I really need to get a little bit more focused, and now they're choking me up.
There you go. I'm going. You're starting to break up a little bit, so I'm going to do this. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to bring you back in and see if that makes a difference. There we go.
Did it work?
Yeah, that's a little bit better.
I warned you. I'm on an acreage, so
it happens. It happens. It's technology, right? Right. Yeah. What did we say that last night? Everything's in retrograde.
Yes, Mercury is in retrograde. So, not only does that have a history of technology problems, but also all of these things that we've been ignoring are brought to our attention, right?
Yes.
Sometimes we don't have any ways but to face them. So I see somebody is asking for a reading, and that's not what we're doing here today, but I'd like just to take this opportunity to share that I do have free readings booked for after we are finished this live in my Facebook group.
Oh, very cool.
If you go to my Facebook page, you can see where to join the Facebook group, because I decided just this year to utilize the group so that it's just a little bit more privacy when I do live readings, and also to give a place for people to preview new crystals when they come in as well.
Oh, that's very cool. Very cool. I think it's very important, and I love the way you said it, because so many crystal shops, you just go in and there's a bunch of crystals and you reach in and you grab one and away you go. Right? Now, what did you say you do? You do things differently at your shop.
Well, I still have shelves full of crystals here, and there are some people who want to come in and just browse and pick something out, but I offer like something extra, because I'm extra, but anyway, I offer energy testing. So a big part of my business is I'll have like a friend or a client who will say, hey, Tammy, it's my sister-in-law's birthday coming up. Her name is June. And can you just, like pick out some stuff for her? And so I'll go around and I'll do some energy testing, and then I will send them a video with some choices, and they'll always pick something. There's never like, no, none of that seems like it would work for her. I always say, this came up, and this is why this came up, because the metaphysical properties of the crystals are huge. This came up, I have this feeling that this is going on with her, and that this would be a support, like that sort of thing. I feel like she could use a little extra self-love. Rhodonite is a stone of self-love, for example, just a couple small examples. And they'll be like, oh my God, yes, she is. I have to. And so then they'll take a few things, or sometimes they take all the things. And that's really exciting when that happens. And they're like, oh, I'm going to put some away for Christmas and some for, her birthday. And it's, yeah. So,
and now, and you make your own jewelry as well. I believe I saw that on your page.
I do make a lot of my jewelry. I make all of the crystal infused products. They're like bath products. So I have like bath packs and sugar scrubs and massage and bath oil. I make soap. I also make, I just finally started making it again. It's been years since I made that stuff. I had surgery 3 or 4 years ago, and everything kind of went down. But I've always made like soaps, deodorant, like sugar scrub, bath and massage oil, lip balm, essential oil rollers.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
All kinds of stuff.
So can people buy this online, or do they have to go to your shop to be able to purchase it?
No, they can absolutely buy it online. I'm actually I'm trying to get an Etsy store set up. I'm trying to reach a broader audience. Now, having said that, so far I have not been very successful at posting absolutely everything I have online, but I am getting a little bit better, one step at a time, right? Because I usually am so busy talking with people and doing events and that sort of thing, that getting this stuff. But I'm trying to make it a priority so that because I have said this since last spring that we're going into recession, and because we're going into a recession, it's really smart to try and reach a broader audience, right? And also when you reach a broader audience, you can help more people. So I'm trying to get it more. I have a website, so there's stuff on there, and Instagram and TikTok and all that sort of stuff. And I'll do like videos of stuff, but actually listing stuff with a price I'm not that good at. But I am going to get better. I'm saying this.
I can feel that. I can feel you putting it out into the universe.
That's right. I'm going to make myself accountable. I'm actually going to post like a catalog type thing.
That would be a perfect. What is if someone wanted to go to your website, what's the best way to get to your website?
Okay, so my website, newintentionsenergy.com. Everything for me is New Intentions Energy. So Facebook is facebook.com/newintenergy. Thank you.
Tanya says she's holding you to it.
And so, and then, Instagram is Instagram /New Intentions Energy. And then even on TikTok, it always is wrong. I posted the link to that in a couple of different places, but nice. Instagram or TikTok makes it complicated, right? Because it's like
I haven't figured out
Instagram.com /? New Intentions Energy, and then a whole bunch of things after that. So
I haven't quite figured out TikTok. I don't get it. I don't understand what the draw is to TikTok. Everybody keeps telling me I need to get on TikTok, but I'm like, I don't get it. I got Facebook. Figured out. And so, and I got YouTube. I'm figuring out YouTube. I haven't got YouTube figured out. I'm figuring it out.
Me neither. I just posted a video on YouTube yesterday, and my daughter was like, oh, you have a YouTube channel? I said, yeah, I've had it for like a couple of years. I just has like one picture on it.
That's hilarious. So, would it be fair to say you treat more animals, or are you like, is that the main part of your business, is dealing with animals?
It's not.
Or is it?
It's not. I would like to treat. And I don't really want to use the word treat. I would like to do sessions and work with more animals than I do. They, are my heart. The animals are my heart, right? And so that's why that's where my core healing experience comes from, because it's been a lifetime of that, right? And
exactly.
So with the people, it's been a dozen years, but with the animals, it's been pushing 50 years. So it's a big difference there. It's like my heart center is helping pets, and I love it. It's usually one of my regular clients or a friend that will say, can you do a session on my dog or on my cat or on my horse? And so that's usually how that happens. I already know them. I don't generally have people come to me just for their pets. I would like to change that, though.
Yeah, I it's funny because as I'm talking to you, I just feel like that's your I'm going to use the word, and Ken, if Ken's listening, I blame you for this. That's your core genius is animals and being able to. I'm going to use the word relate. Does that make sense? Relate to animals?
I I do relate to animals. My daughters always ask me, "How do you know what they're saying? How do you always know what they're saying?" Because ever for her whole life, there would be an animal. There'd be an animal there, and I would say they say this or they say that. And she says to me one day, "How do you always know what they're saying?" And I was like, "Well, I've always known what they say. Always."
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's very
Definitely.
cool.
Mhm.
That would be a cool thing to learn, um, to actually understand. I'd love to be able
Yeah.
to tap into
Yeah.
my dog and be
I,
able to
I
understand.
honestly I find them a lot easier to understand than people.
Oh,
So
people
when I'm
people are the most complicated.
so here's the thing. There's this thing called boundaries, right? And ethics. So
Yes.
so here's something that just take a minute if you don't mind. I
No,
have
you go.
had people ask me, what's that like to just go around reading everybody? Well, we're not allowed to do that, right? So,
Yes.
if it's something that comes so naturally to you, you have to teach yourself to put up this boundary so that when you do actually engage with channeling and reading and doing energy work, then you're tuning in. So, it's like a channel. You have to turn to that channel when you're going to do that, but you have to actually turn to the channel to do it. And
Yes.
so when I turn to that channel and I'm dealing with people or, doing a session with somebody or reading for somebody on the soul level, that's a piece of cake, because when you're looking at somebody on a soul level, it's just so who they are authentic, their authentic self, right? But
Yes.
dealing with the people how people present themselves to the world, generally speaking, I'm not speaking of anybody in particular, definitely not, but I'm saying it's a lot different, generally speaking, than what you meet on a soul level, especially during a crystalline energy session. Like that's really just working soul to soul. And when you're meeting somebody at their soul level, it's a very easy to understand, mostly because the guides are telling you,
Yes.
right? Their guides,
It,
their ancestors or past lives or whoever comes through are telling you this is
exactly.
how it is, and I don't have to think about anything. But when you're dealing with people on a personal level, and like friendships and relationships and that sort of thing, that's a whole other ball game. I would just rather people come and we just do it's energy work, and then I can do everything on the soul level, because I have to tell you that is a much more rewarding experience
Oh,
than
yes. Now
going to the grocery store.
you mentioned, is it PEMF? Is that right?
Yes.
Can you kind of describe that? That's really intrigues me.
Okay, so it's a big machine and it has coils, and it stands for pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. And what it does is that it increases circulation and oxygenation on a cellular level, which therefore reduces inflammation and pain.
Oh,
So, for example, they were talking a lot about how at horse shows somebody falls off, they break their ankle, they put the device on them right away. Now, these are like really high frequency devices. Like, I mean, it looks like a suitcase, and um, on wheels. And
right.
so, they put that on for 20 minutes. They go to the hospital. They're like, I think this person broke their ankle. They're like, there's no inflammation. They couldn't have broken their ankle. And then
Yeah.
they take the x-ray. The person did indeed their ankles. So with animals, after a break, we have to wait 16 days before we start doing PEMF sessions with them on that part of their body, because it reduces the inflammation and the pain so much that they might put undue pressure too early.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Because their bodies are a lot different than a human body.
Yes.
That makes total sense.
Yes.
So I have a grandpuppy who has a sore knee.
Mhm.
When she runs, she'll pull the knee up, her back
Right.
leg up. Would that
Mhm.
kind of thing help? Is that what it's intended for?
So has she been to the vet? Because that's the first thing that we have to say, right? Have they
I
been to
love
the
it.
vet?
Yes,
And
they've been to the vet.
because we like to work with vets, not against them.
Nice.
And
I love that.
so, like that, have to ask the vet about that. But in general, anything that would be assisted by reducing inflammation, it will benefit.
Well, and I mean, if you can reduce inflammation, I mean, it's endless. I can think of so many things,
Yes,
including
exactly.
myself with
Exactly.
fighting long COVID.
Mhm.
My girlfriend who
Yeah.
has Crohn's, who is hips and knees are just
Mhm.
agonizing. Um, that kind of thing would go a long way. Now,
Yes.
how do you work that in with your energy healing? Do you do both at the same time?
No, I don't do both at the same time. I find a lot of people who come for an in-depth energy session are not ready to go out to their car and drive away right after. So that would be a good time. So it's like, at the same time, but not simultaneously. And then
Gotcha.
there are people, see, the thing is with the PEMF is there's like a detox effect with it too, because it increases circulation so much, including in all of your organs and everything. And there's the detox effect that, just like there is with energy work, well, in a different way, but still, they both have
Yeah.
that detox effect. And so I also find that it's really good for people who are meant to meet me, but do not believe in any of the woo-woo stuff.
The woo-woo stuff. I love it.
Because a lot of times they'll start with the PMF and then they'll turn to the woo-woo a little bit later. And so
we gotta work them into the woo-woo.
I'm not trying to convince, they just start asking questions because I'm not here to convince anybody of anything, right? Like, we can't do that. So
you literally take words out of my mouth, because I get this all the time, and I'm like, I'm not here to convince you what I do is real. I don't need to. If you want to hear a message, I'll gladly pass messages on, but I'm not here to convince you.
Yes.
And you always get those people that want to test you. Do you ever get that?
I do. I don't participate in that kind of nonsense.
No. It's like, go
at all.
I don't have time for you.
Well, it's not necessary. Like,
Exactly.
I understand. The worst thing is that I understand how they feel, because I used to be, when I was trying to block it out, I would go to a psychic and I wouldn't say anything and I would wait for them to give me answers. I was that person. And so I just let people know I'm an approved reader on this group and this group. If you want to go check that out and check out the samples and check out the recommendations and that sort of thing, go ahead. But I'm not going to spend my time tuning in to give you a free reading. I do free readings. If you want to come to one of those live events, you can check it out, but I'm not going to participate in your test.
Exactly, because it's not worth it. It's just not worth it.
No, it's not.
Now, sorry, I keep going back and forth between the camera and your website, because you have so much on there that is just like, I could go on and on and on.
Oh, are you on my website?
Yeah, I'm going back and forth. No, I'm on your Facebook page, not your website.
Oh, you're on my Facebook page. Okay.
Your Facebook page. You probably got
a different Facebook page. So I want to share that I post a lot of inspirational quotes and stuff on my main Facebook page. And then I had some people share with me, you know what, I like your crystals and I like it when you do the readings, but I don't really need any of your spiritual crap. So I started a page that says New Intentions Crystalline Energy Lives. And that one is just bare bones, right? But then I have the main page, which is New Intentions Crystalline Energy and More. That's the one.
That's the one I'm on.
I post all the spiritual.
I'm on the Crystalline Energy and More.
Yes.
Now, man, you do so much different spiritual cord cutting. This is a one that I've always been very intrigued by, because I find I don't claim to be a healer whatsoever. I'm a medium. That's my core genius.
Yes.
I tried to branch out and do all kinds of other stuff at one point, and I went, no, I'm a medium. And to my own horn, I'm pretty darn good at it. So I can.
I just want to just take this opportunity to say that I know before I met Kevin, people were asking me who to get to do group readings, and at that time I didn't know anybody. But Kevin is the go-to person for group readings, and he does them on virtually as well as in person. So if you're having a get together with some group readings, Kevin is the person to go to.
We
for
just
sure.
had a group reading at the house here last Wednesday. It was so much fun. It was different. It was more of informative. Who are your spirit guides? What are they here for? And then
Yeah,
we got into loved ones as well, because of
right.
course,
Yeah.
when you open that door, they come flooding in.
Yes, they certainly do.
It's funny. I laugh because I'll do read. Ellison is my girlfriend, and whenever I try to read for her, it's like it's a spirit party. You
Yeah.
can't control. It's just like the room fills up with 100 different souls, and you're like, where did you all come from?
Yeah, they're
I only
waiting for
wanted
you to
one.
invite them in. They were waiting for you to open that door, and then they just all came in.
Exactly,
Often the case,
exactly.
right?
Oops,
Oh,
squirrel.
good.
We
You're here.
went way off topic
Oftentimes,
there.
I'll sit down in somebody's head at the first time to do a crystalline session, and there'll be somebody there, and they do not leave the whole time. They've been waiting, and they are taking this opportunity to unload all of that stuff that they have been trying to say. And
It's true. I get it.
yeah,
Well, I'll book a session for 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'll wake up, and they'll be and I'll be like, "What are you doing here?" And they're like, "Oh, we have a reading today." And I'm like, "It's not till 2 o'clock. It's 8. Go away." But people have to understand, spirits get really, really excited when they have an opportunity to
yes,
come
they do.
and actually
Absolutely.
pass a message back to you.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
yeah. I always tell
There's
people I
somebody
get
will
more out of
ask.
it.
Some people will ask. I want to connect with this person, and so I'll ask connect with this person, but somebody else comes through because they were waiting, and they're like,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm not waiting anymore. I'm going to be first. And it's like, okay.
You don't always get what you want. You get what you need.
Or what the spirits want.
Exactly.
They're like,
Sorry, we got way off topic there. We were talking about what were we talking about? We were going to talk about spiritual cord
oh,
cutting. Can
yes.
you
Yeah.
explain what that is and how that's
Okay,
beneficial?
so it's an attachment, right? Like when there's somebody who you can't get off of you that in person, right? So,
Yeah,
somebody, it just
an,
feels
an
like as though,
ex
and
or
yes, or somebody even a teacher or somebody that you've done or somebody that you've had a falling out with, and you have done all the work to let go of what it was that was attaching you, but it is clear that they haven't, and you can still feel that pull and like it's draining your energy and that sort of thing. That's when you know to get cord cutting. Now, having said that, when I'm doing a crystalline session, if an entity comes up or if there's a cord that comes up, then I'll do it within the crystalline session with the client's permission. But some people,
yeah,
like they don't understand anything yet. They will about in-depth energy sessions, and they just want a cord cutting. Like they've heard of cord cutting, so
cutting.
they'll come
Yes,
and they will ask me about that. And so, I'm not going to go into all of the things about how to do it, but the one thing that I do want to say is that it's important, whatever it is that you are doing, to do it with love. So to send
yes.
that love back to them. You never want to do anything with any sort of the spiritual type work, in my opinion, with bad feelings. You send them on their way, set those boundaries. You don't want them to be a part of your life anymore, but send them with love.
We should never do anything spiritually with, I'll use the word, ill intent or malicious. Thank you. My guides are correcting me. Malicious intent,
Yes,
because
agree.
it can cause damage.
Mm-hmm.
We can. Same thing as I would never try to do cord cutting on somebody until I really learned how to do it,
Yes,
because
that is
if you
important.
if you don't know how to do something like that, you could really mess things up.
You could
And
absolutely.
I'm trying to be nice the way I
You
say
can't
that.
just cut it and leave it hanging there. There's big techniques to it. Like
Yes.
you got to put it
And
somewhere.
I think too many people out there in the spiritual, I hate using this word, the spiritual industry, that just think, oh, I've heard of this. I know how to do this. No. Go get proper
There's
training.
people
Go to somebody.
in all industries like that, not just the spiritual.
But usually in industries that you can do harm, it's
Mhm.
somewhat regulated. So I say somewhat because not
Yeah, that
all,
is
but
true. Fair
somewhat
enough.
regulated. Do you teach any of this?
That's a really good question. I just had a workshop on Saturday, so I do teach. Actually, quite frankly, when somebody does crystalline sessions on a regular basis, that's their own individual specialized course.
Oh, nice.
Because in
Okay.
each crystalline session, there's a reading involved because messages always come through. You can't stop them. And
Yes.
then also there's guidance or an invitation to do homework for your spiritual development or whatever it is that you're working towards at that point in time. So that in its own is its very own, very individualized course, because I've had clients that had no interest in, work, even though they're very intuitive into doing, and some of them may or may not be here in this call, and they and they had no
But they
interest in
know who
doing
they are.
any sort of spiritual development. So the
Hmm.
guidance came through for job advancement and how
Oh,
to go, because that's what they were interested in at that time. And
yeah.
so many times I'm like, this is, and I have no idea about any of these things, but this is what comes through, and it comes through me. It doesn't come from me. And
Thank
so
you.
that is when I say, I don't know if this makes sense or not. Da, da, da. Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I
And
say it
it's you.
100 times. It's like, I don't know if this makes sense, but um, this is a long one, so I'm going to read it and see if it's. Can you see that question from Word?
Yes. Hello. I've been astro traveling since recently. When I go to bed, always when I have these astro travels, I go to the same place every time as on a spaceship, and I have this weird experience there. The beings who are there with me are trying to heal me, but they don't know me. Well, that's unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would, Ward, I would definitely touch base with somebody on that. Someone
Mm-hmm.
like a Tammy probably would be able to delve deeper into that.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
because a lot of times, especially when people are astral traveling, again, you got to be careful.
You do have to be careful. Absolutely.
It's funny because that's a topic that I really want to learn about. So I went out
Yeah.
and I bought a book called Astral Traveling.
Oh,
And guess
cool.
what I did with it? I put it on my shelf and I haven't read it.
I had no idea. I was like, everybody talks about astral traveling, and the pictures that you see are with a tether. And it took
Yeah.
me a number of years to realize that I was astral planing and that there was a word for it, because when I do astral travel, there is no tether. I'm just out there. And
Well, that's funny because when I was
yeah,
having, remember I said when I was young, I had dreams. I never
mhm,
had a tether. I just kind of went there
exactly.
to
Exactly.
the
I've
other
never had
side
one.
and
Yeah.
and sat on some stairs and had
Yeah.
conversations.
Mhm.
It
Absolutely.
wasn't, so it's called planing, not traveling. There's a difference.
There is a difference. The planing is with no tether.
There you
Astral
go.
projecting
There you go.
has a tether.
So crystals have intrigued me lately, and it's funny because I wasn't a crystal guy when I first started this. I thought crystals were kind of woo-woo, uh, even more woo-woo than being a medium. But now you've probably seen me holding crystals as we talk.
Yes.
There's another book over in my bookshelf all about crystals. Haven't, it's the Crystal Bible, it's called. Haven't read that either. So
I do
if so,
crystals. I do some teaching on crystals for the chakras. It's one of the classes that I offer. But
cool.
for me, crystals, I've worked with crystals my entire life. I don't ever remember not working with crystals.
Wow.
And same with essential oils. I don't ever remember not working with them. And so, that's, even though I like put everything away and avoided it, I still felt the energy in crystals, and, learned about their metaphysical properties and that sort of thing long before I took courses or any courses on them. So it's something that it's kind of like it's part of my being. The crystals are
Oh, wow.
part of my,
So
and
that's your kind of, I could tell the way you're talking, that's your passion.
yes, and so that's I definitely can't cut people out of my business, because they're the ones that buy the crystals. The pets don't come in and buy crystals. So
Damn, we were that close. We were that close.
you see the struggle. So
That's hilarious.
yeah.
So when someone a lot of your work is in person, or do you also do Zoom work?
Since the pandemic, and so here's another irony, right? I used to say, there's no way that virtual energy work works. There's just no way. How can that be possible? And then when we had the lockdown at the beginning of the pandemic, the guys were saying, you got to start doing virtual work. They were like, they wouldn't shut up. And so I was like, fine, I will try it. So I offered it for free because I didn't really believe it would work. And much to my shock and amazement, I found that it works better because when you do virtual sessions, it is working. There's somebody spamming.
Yeah, I'm getting rid of it.
It's friend requests. They do that on my lives too. Drives me crazy. But
yeah,
anyways,
it happens all the time.
I was like, wow, this is amazing because the physical body is out of the way, and you are totally dealing with somebody 100% on the soul level when you do,
Yes.
like the virtual stuff, right? And so since the pandemic, 90% of my business has been virtual.
Wow. See, it's funny because I don't know if you know this, but I started this at the beginning of the pandemic. It was because of the pandemic that we were sitting on the couch, Allison and I, and she had been going to a few of Ken and Kim's events, live events before the pandemic. And I always thought, what a waste of money, hun. Like, but if it makes you happy, you go. Yeah. And then we're sitting on there one day, and she said, oh, Ken's doing a course on channeling this weekend. I went, no, we're busy. Oh, crap, we're not busy. We're stuck at home and we're doing nothing. I have no excuse.
That's right.
So we did it. And it's such a cliche, but I say it all the time. I took level 1, and to say it was life-changing,
yes,
is to put it mildly, because then we took level 2, and then we took level 3.
Yeah.
And here I am 2.5 years later, almost 3 years later, having done literally thousands of readings now.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have started this 20 years ago. Right.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Like once you stop batting them away, then it's totally life changing. My daughter always says to me,
once you understand what's over there,
how can you always so happy? She says to me, how come you're always so happy? And she goes like, how can you possibly be so happy like all the time? And it's because I'm, first of all, I'm never alone. So
there's always someone watching.
There's always somebody talking to me, like my guys. And secondly, it's a choice, right? Like I choose to be happy. Yes. Like, and it all starts to me. It all starts with mindset. And I am going to have some courses coming out about that. And basically, they follow the ascension process, right? So in the ascension process, the very first part of it is like all of that hyper awareness of everything. And so, with that hyper awareness, like you're noticing things you never noticed before, and it can turn very negative. So not to replace any sort of counseling or that type of therapy, like, or any medication or anything like that, but to work with it. If you can try and change a negative self-thought into a positive one, that's a really good first step. And that starts with, self-affirmations and that sort of thing. So,
well, it's amazing how many of my clients are therapists, whether they be a clinical therapist or psychologist, and they really want to be able to merge what they do and energy together. Because what
I think that is an amazing idea, because I have so many messages come through, and I have no idea that the person is in counseling or anything, and I will say, that this is what's coming through for you now, and then I say exactly what I just said a minute ago. Now, I'm not saying don't go get therapy or counseling or that sort of thing, but this, if you're interested in that, this would be in addition to that. And they're like, oh, I do go for counseling, and this is actually in alignment with what they say to me. So like that's really
interesting. And it's funny because their guides give us so much information, and it's never wrong.
No, it's not.
We sometimes interpret it incorrectly.
That's true.
But they're never wrong. It's just they're not. It's just one of those things.
I totally agree.
one of those things. Holy, I told you it's now 7:50. We have 10 minutes left, and I got a million more questions. We talked about, we kind of touched on workshops and what teaching you do. But you said there's more, you're kind of adding more teachings.
I am. I am definitely adding more teachings. I've been told a couple things. I've been told for 25 years now that I should write a book.
Oh,
And so
okay.
I'm going to start working on that. And then finally, I mean, it's all in my head. I just got to put it down on paper. And
Oh, and on that note, you froze. Hold on, don't talk. You're frozen. I'm going to take you out of there, put you over there. If you can hear me, Tammy, if you can log off and log back on, that would be awesome, because you have frozen right up now. I hope it's you and not me. If someone on the in the screen, if you can hear me, if someone on the screen, if someone on the stream can still hear me, can you let me know that you can hear me? And it's just Tammy that's frozen. It's Tammy. Thank you, Tanya. So Tammy, if you can kind of I'm going to do that. And then if you can log back on, I'm just going to send her a message. That's good. I'm glad you can hear me. I'm just going to babble until I can get Tammy back on, because I really want to talk about her her workshop. So hopefully she comes back on in the next few minutes. In the meantime, if you want to get a hold of Tammy, her Facebook is New Intentions, Crystalline Energy, and More. I will post a link to it on this in the chat of this at the end. If you want to have a reading from me, I do things a little differently than most people that do readings. I keep it really light. Obviously, I'm not I sit in a hoodie and and a t-shirt, but I will do mediumship where I talk to loved ones. You can also have messages from your spirit guides, and that's usually a combination of those two is usually a typical reading. I charge $75 for 1 hour, or if you only want to do a half hour, it's $40. And you can go to Kevali Channeling Facebook page and click on the book now, and you can see my availability. If a time isn't there that suits you, please message me. I'll work with you and figure out a time. I'm messaging Tammy. I think her Facebook isn't even, the messages to her Facebook isn't even going through, unfortunately. I have a feeling her internet is right down, unfortunately. Yeah, I can't even send a message. If anybody on the stream has contact with Tammy, if they can message her and let her know I'm hanging in there and I'm waiting for her to come back on, that would be awesome. 1 hour is not enough, Debbie. I've seen it so many times, and I agree. Problem is, after an hour, my voice goes. So we usually keep it to an hour. I will definitely have Tammy back on in the future, because she has a cool story and a lot of stuff that she does that a lot of people need to hear about, from chakra balancing to pet sessions, energy sessions. She does Reiki, of course, psychic readings, etc. So yeah, I will definitely have Tammy back on in the future. Oh, my message to her went through, so maybe she'll log back on now. We're going to hold on and see. We're going to hope she can get back on. If, as we're waiting for her, kind of a few little things. Next Wednesday, we have our Ask Ken show, which is Ken Lewicki, who is the trainer. He taught me how to channel. That's what these all are here. The different workshops I've done with him. And he does a show called Ask Ken. I'm the host of it. And basically, you could ask Ken anything, and he will answer it. Oh, we have Tammy coming back. Here we go. I'm going to click on this, and Hopefully. There she is. Oh, I can't hear you. No. No, I can't hear you, Tammy. We've got you on video, but I can't hear anything. Oh, this sucks. I hate when this happens. Technology sucks at times. Tammy, I am going to, talk again, see if it works. Yeah, no. I have done something I think that nobody else was able to do. I was able to mute Tammy. I don't think that was possible, but she's muted and I don't know why we're not getting any sound. Try one more time, Tammy. I will hold on and see if we can get you back on. Anyways, yeah, so the Ask Ken show next Wednesday night at 7:00. You can tune in from YouTube at Kevali Channeling or on Kevali Channeling on my Facebook page. It's a cool show. You can ask Ken questions spiritually. We don't do mini readings, but you can ask him all kinds of questions about spirituality. And what he does is he actually channels the messages. So if that is something you're interested in, tune in. When is that? That's the 25th of January. It's always the fourth Wednesday of every month. We have a blast doing it. We keep it fun. We laugh. It's a good time. So I'm waiting to see what's happening with Tammy. Everybody's saying, I texted her. I sent her a message and she came on, but she went away again. I'm just going to... Oh, I heard a beep. Let's see if it works. Let's see. There she is. I can hear her.
My daughter reset the internet. So when I was trying to access through my phone, and it said that my microphone usage was blocked.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Mercury's in retrograde. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. I'm so glad I got you back on before we had to go off the air. We were going to talk about your workshops. I already gave people that didn't know your Facebook page. Talk about your workshops.
So I do a couple different things. I do chakras, crystals for the chakras, which is like more than one. And then I do like an intuition development workshop, which helps people to learn how to develop their intuition. And so, how to trust their intuition more. So I teach like 5 different ways to use a pendulum, 5 different ways to do muscle testing. I teach meditation. So I do a brief.
5 different ways to use a pendulum. I thought it was a yes or a no. It was
so not just yes or no. No, absolutely not. A pendulum can tell you directions and it can spell things out for you. It can do all kinds of things.
Hold it. If I get lost, a pendulum can put me in the proper direction?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Because it's your guides. It's your guides, right? You're in tune with your guides. It's the pendulum doesn't have a mind of its own. So and
you can I love the way you said that. Like, what are you talking about?
You can clear and balance chakras with the pendulum. So I teach that too. And And also the muscle testing is huge because people might look at you real weird if you're in a store and you pull out your pendulum. And then and so
people look at me weird anyways. So
I do like a tutorial for doing like a 10-minute developmental meditation every day. And then if we have time, then I go into divination rods and crystal balls and obsidian scrying mirrors and that sort of thing.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Mm-hmm. And they could go to your Facebook page, and from there they can get directed to be able to figure out when these courses are being offered.
Yes. I offer them when I feel guided to. They're not like a regular thing. So,
gotcha.
When people start bugging me, mostly, I'm like, okay, I'll do that workshop.
Okay, if I have to, I'll do that workshop.
Yeah. Because quite frankly, a lot of the stuff that I teach in the workshop is taught here and there during readings and energy work, because the guides say, show them this, show them that,
Yes.
show them this,
That is
show them that.
amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Hmm.
It's funny. I'm a salesperson by trade, and when I
I'm
first
a
started
terrible
doing this,
salesperson.
when I
Terrible.
first started doing this, my guides were like, "Well, you should encourage your clients to learn what you do," and I'm like,
Mm.
"Well, that seems to be a dumb system. Like, I have clients, and you want me to get them to do what I do."
Mm.
No, that's just no. And of course, I've over time I went, okay, and it's we need more people doing what we do. It's a
Yes,
fact.
absolutely, absolutely.
Over the next 5 years or less, maybe a bit more, um, we're going to need thousands and thousands of people
Mm-hmm.
to do. I always say, wouldn't it be a special place, this earth, if tomorrow morning all 8 billion of us woke up and decided to learn how to channel?
Yes, that would
Wow.
be phenomenal.
We might not be perfect, but it would be a lot
Mm.
better place than what we live in now.
Well, the pandemic started a huge ascension, so it's coming. You're right.
Yes.
In the next 5 years, it's going to be completely different.
I could say a lot of bad things about the pandemic. I can curse COVID to the day it comes home because it has changed my life to the worse
Mm-hmm.
in some aspects of it, but it also has changed my life to very, very good. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
I understand.
Miss Tammy, thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
so appreciate you coming on. When you were off, I was telling all the people listening that I'm going to have you on again. That hour went by way too quick, so I um, expect a phone call or a message. A phone call. Expect a message probably in a month or so. But keep in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to it. Thank you, Kevin.
You're more than welcome. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back to you.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I know we went a couple minutes over, but I appreciate it. Again, if you want to get a hold of me, Kevali Channeling is my Facebook page. You can click the book now. It shows you my availability. Have yourself a great week. Until next Monday, take